Welcome to Counterpoint. I'm Tanya Granick-Allen. It's time for our Current Issues panel, a regular feature here on the show. And today we're going to be discussing all sorts of issues, including the alleged Chinese intimidation of a conservative MP and his family, the government's response to that. We'll dive into the reaction of the Governor General's comments on the monarchy. We'll explore the future of Fox News Channel in Canada amidst calls to cancel the network from Canadian airwaves. And speaking of canceling, we'll discuss the canceling of Mother's Day in some Canadian schools. And we'll cover the new Canadian passport design and the soon-to-be-launched online renewal of passports. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Lots to discuss, and joining me now to help unpack it all is Elliot Hughes, Senior Advisor, Summa Strategies, and political commentator Brock Stephenson. Thank you both for joining me today. Lots to unpack, so we're going to dive right in. Let's start with Fox News Channel. So obviously we have a regulatory body, the Canadian Radio Telecommunication Commission, which kind of oversees licensing and broadcasting and all sorts of things like this on our airwaves. Well, there was a recent call to evaluate whether Fox News should be in Canada. Elliot, why don't you start us off on this? What's going on there?
Yeah, the CRTC, obviously, as you mentioned, Tanya, kind of regulates what we sort of see on our airways, televisions, and so on. And I suppose there were some concerns from Canadians about, the content that Fox News is putting out there. I think primarily concerned about the Tucker Carlson show, which incidentally no longer exists because Tucker Carlson was fired from Fox News. But, the network has been known to say some things that might cause a bit of consternation in some news itself. Look, I mean, this is a tough one. I think it's fair to say that if you look down into the States and you sort of see what's been playing out over the last couple of years and the impact that Fox News has had, I think it's at least from my perspective, it doesn't seem to have been a net benefit, net positive. That said, I'm very hesitant to all of a sudden start saying, or for the government to start saying what can and can't people start watching. I think the important thing here is to make sure that Canadians are informed, on their own about what, then they can decide and choose what to look at, what to watch, what kind of news they want. And if the government wants to play a role in that, then, that's about sort of improving sort of the quality of news and the expectation of what Canadians would want from a news channel. I think if you start to get in the world of starting to ban certain Fox News or other news stations, you're getting into some pretty choppy territory from my perspective. Yeah,
and this is an interesting discussion to have in light that C-11 has recently passed both houses. So that this is a very interesting. Maybe this is a little bit of a litmus on that. It's important to note that this investigation seems to be launched by because of hateful content, allegations of hateful content against the LGBTQS plus community. And it was launched by an advocacy group called EGAL. Brock, what's your take on this situation? Is this too heavy-handed?
And the CRTC likes to be heavy-handed on some of these things. There's been radio programs that have been fined for offensive comments in Canada that were rebroadcast of American programs. I think we've got a challenge here where the issue is it offensive and do they deserve to be fined versus taken off the air, which is an extreme step. Fox is no longer the threat it once was. Alternative sources are way more prevalent than 20 years ago when Fox emerged on the scene. Some Canadians thought CNN was American propaganda back in the day, and in the States, it's seen as a sort of left-wing network. So you've got lots of challenges out there. And I think you also have to be aware that in Canada, Fox isn't a state-sponsored news channel. We do and have allowed state-sponsored news channels from Russia, the Middle East, China on our airwaves. The CRTC's allowed those over the years. Some of those have been removed, but you've got to be careful and make sure that free speech does have its place. And if they step over the line, maybe they do deserve a fine from the CRTC.
And to that point, Elliot, it's true that Russia, the state broadcaster from Russia and RT France, they were removed and they're no longer aired here in Canada since 2022, I believe, since the Russia invasion. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Canadians do have till June 2nd to comment on this through the CRTC. We only have 20 seconds, Elliot. In your experience, do you expect a lot of response to this?
Well, I think I saw in some of the articles around this that there's been about 150 or 175 Canadians who have responded, which frankly isn't all that much. So it doesn't seem to be garnering much interest and much attention from Canadians. So we'll see how the CRTC handles that and whether or not they feel they have the mandate to be able to make any decisions, big decisions on this topic.
Okay, we'll be right back.